Welcome back to Jay's Talk Plus. I'm Blake Murphy. Had the chance to sit down with TNA wrestling star Joe Hendry the other day. He's also been popping up on WWE NXT, which you can check out every Tuesday on Sportsnet 360. Catch up with it, including NXT Heatwave, where Joe Hendry teased his eventual return to NXT on Sportsnet Plus. TNA Slammiversary goes down April 20th in Montreal, or July 20th. April 20th would be early promotion right here. July 20th in Montreal. It's almost sold out already, so check that out. Here is our sit down with one of the hottest stars in wrestling, especially online, Joe Hendry.
Joined now by Joe Hendry, one of the hottest superstars in not just TNA but NXT. Joe, what's up, man? It's been a minute. A lot has changed for you in the 18 months since I saw you last.
Yeah, a lot has changed in the last 2 or 3 months. It's a wild time, and I'm enjoying every moment.
It seems like a blast. I had Shawn Michaels, HBK, on the show a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about this kind of NXT TNA crossover stuff that's been happening. And I mentioned your name. I thought maybe he'd bite on it and give something away. He didn't. And then you show up in that Battle Royal the other week. Man, can you walk me through a little bit about how this TNA NXT crossover stuff has worked, and how you got approached to be a part of it, or raised your hand to be a part of it?
No, I absolutely cannot, because that's a secretive part of the industry. Nice try, though. I do respect it. But I guess this is all you got to know, really. What I will say is this is what is kind of out there is, a lot of the time, so for example, when I did the first appearance, it was, I'd heard some rumblings, but it was really only confirmed the day before. And then the challenge was just right, we got to get me from LA to Orlando. Which was a bit of a challenge, but I actually thought that really helped, because it's almost like, when MMA fighters talk about the first battle is making weight, so they don't really have time to overthink the fight. I kind of felt the same with my situation. It was right, I got to get to Orlando. That was the first battle. And then by the time I got to Orlando, I was just tired and ready for bed. So I had a great sleep, and then woke up the next day, felt awesome. And it was just, what I will say, though, is my interactions with WWE have been absolutely everything that you would want them to be. It's just to be able to represent TNA in this way. I love TNA and I love WWE's product, and to be able to do great business with both of them in a way that it benefits everybody is the dream situation. I was talking to someone at WWE yesterday, and I was like, this is really cool that we get to do this. And he said to me, never seen it before. And it's just it's such a historic thing that we're doing, when you think about it. So it's very exciting to be able to do what we do and represent TNA, and at the same time learn from Shawn Michaels and Matt Bloom and Johnny Russo and the other great staff that they have down there. It's it's happening so fast that I'm trying my best to take it all in and enjoy it, but it's just, I think they say sometimes you don't realize that you're in the good times until they're over, but I'm really, really trying to stay present and enjoy every second, because I just can't believe it's happening, really. And I've just had nothing but positivity from the fans. I can't really put it into words. When the fans see those videos of me walking out and I'm looking around just going, damn, is this really happening? It's a very real reaction.
And it looks like you're having a blast, man. So I did want to ask about that, right? You show up this first day, and obviously people know you. The song has done what it's done on the UK charts and become a bit of a viral thing. I won't ask you to rehash all of that with us, because I know you're probably talked out about it at this point. But that's a real thing, and that's online, and that's a TNA audience. Was there any part of you that wondered, hey, would the NXT audience, when I show up there, the music hits, the big smile hits, would they know, would they get it? Was there any apprehension on your part?
There was no apprehension. I thought it would get a good reaction, but Steve Corino, Tommy Dreamer, and Shawn seemed to know in advance that it was going to be the reaction that it was. They told me that they thought it was going to go really well. And I thought it would go well, but I just, to have WWE's most watched video on Twitter of the year when you consider all the mega stars that are involved in that. It's very surreal. It's awesome. And sometimes it's, when you're around great people and you're in a great environment and you're collaborating together, you're having fun. And, like I say, I've got people from TNA and WWE all working together collaboratively, and it's just fun and awesome and everything you would want it to be. But you sometimes, when you're doing it, you're having fun, and then in retrospect you realize the grandeur of what you've actually just gone and done. Like, to me, like, I just wrestled a show at the weekend in Scotland for a company called CPW in front of 150, 200 people, and had an absolute blast. And then I just got a similar fun feeling, but obviously on a different scale. But I just had that same buzz of just wrestling in front of people. And then, when you get back to the hotel and you look on your phone, you're like, oh, yeah, like a lot of people see this, and it's surreal in the best possible way.
It's again, it looks like you're having a blast, and I caught the NXT main event last night. For anyone who missed it on Sportsnet 360, you can watch it on Sportsnet Plus. You come out as the surprise partner for Trick Williams in the main event there. Huge ovation. And yeah, you talk about doing big things. Not only are you one of the first guys doing this TNA WWE crossover, but you win in the main event. You get the pinfall and everything. So it's this isn't I don't know. I think sometimes when people hear this stuff or think of these crossovers, they're like, oh, the one company's going to dominate. You think back to WWE, WCW Invasion, where all the WCW guys just lost or whatever. No, man, you're winning the main event. I'd imagine it's a pretty fulfilling feeling. I wanted to ask you, like, more generally. So again, for anyone who doesn't know, you and I crossed paths like maybe 18 months ago. I was commentating for Smash Wrestling here in Toronto, and you and I talked. I actually helped you film one of the videos, the Canada FEA video.
Yeah, I feel like such an, like, when you first came on, like, I'm just so jet lagged. Like, I actually was like, oh, we've got each other on socials, right? And we've had very meaningful interactions, so I very much apologize for that.
No, dude, it's okay, man. Yeah, I know you're doing a ton of media, and you're, like you said, you just got back from Scotland and everything. But so we had a conversation.
I'm about to fly.
Oh, sorry, about to fly.
We're about to get it done. Yeah.
See, now I feel like
I'm still jet lagged from when I got here. It's But sorry, carry on.
No, so we had a conversation that day, and I was curious about some of the changes you made. Obviously, you bulked up a little bit, changed your style, dyed the hair, and you said something to me. You had thought about how to get to that next level, because these videos you've done about your opponents and things like that, you've always done a good job creating buzz for yourself in the organizations you're in. But you had kind of said to me, hey, you thought about it, and why would a kid buy a Joe Hendry action figure? And that's kind of what went into some of the changes. So, obviously the meme or the viral aspect of this is a part of it, but how much do you feel like this is kind of the culmination of you kind of spending a couple years here changing who Joe Hendry is as a wrestler?
Well, I think now it's just the I'm always learning now, and what I do is I rate myself out of 10. And I started with 3, but I now think there are 5 ways that you need to rate yourself: your look, your in-ring ability, your promo and your charisma, your ability to promote yourself, and your professionalism, sort of easiness to deal with type thing. I think those are the 5 most important metrics that any pro wrestler can pay attention to. And if you just look at those things and go, what is my physique out of 10? If Batista's a 10 and, just Jabba the Hutt's a 1, then, wait a minute type thing. Same with, do it with your in-ring work, do it with your charisma, your ability to promote yourself. And then with a professional thing, it's like, am I a pain in the ass to deal with, or am I pretty easy to deal with? Like, just thinking about those things. I think if you aim to improve all of those things, like by 1 point out of 10 every 3 to 6 months, pretty soon you're going to be where you want to be. And that's exactly what's happened to me. So for anyone listening, they want to know what the secret is, that's it, and also be a songwriting genius. But that's the thing.
The Sun and Venus, yeah, that's a helpful part of it. Okay, so I'm asking you about some WWE stuff here, but you have a pretty big TNA event coming up. TNA Slammiversary is taking place in Montreal on July 20th. I know you've been to Canada a handful of times. This is going to be the biggest match of your career. You're in a world title match at TNA Slammiversary. Therefore, how much are you looking forward to that? What's kind of front of mind for you as you head into Slammiversary in Montreal?
I'm just very much looking forward to it. You know, I've said to many people that I feel like I'm on a hell of a run right now. I feel like I'm really a key part of TNA doing some historic business right now, and I take a lot of pride in that. And that was always my goal. I've always said that in interviews. My goal was to be someone that when TNA announced me, tickets shift, you know, t-shirts shift. Like I add to the business element of TNA. So to be able to now have taken that along with all the improvements I've made and to walk into the main event of the biggest show that we've done in over a decade, that feels pretty good.
Have you done Montreal before? Like, have you wrestled there? Have you gotten to experience the city at all?
So I did. I did a pretty extensive Canada tour in 2017 or 18. I actually would need to go and check my cage match on that one.
Nice. Yeah, no, I imagine you're not doing songs in French. Enough people speak English in Montreal that you'll probably be fine there too.
Well, we believe we've got a t-shirt out that's OUI believe. So there you go. That can be my contribution.
It's a good one. Man, looking forward to that. Last one for you. Olympics are coming up here. I know you were a freestyle wrestler, like by trade coming up. How do you find that like obviously like there's the Kurt Angle example of like a guy who comes from gold medal right in, but that kind of background, freestyle wrestling background, to kind of build your wrestling from, how helpful did you find that as you kind of trained as a pro wrestler?
Well, I actually only started amateur wrestling after I'd already begun my pro wrestling career. So I started
gold medals right away in the British scene. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I just looked at it strategically, and I thought that, I learned from Chael Sonnen, who explained that the higher up the weight classes you go, it's more about strength and conditioning rather than technique. The lower the weight classes you go, you've got technical wizards. So I thought, well, I'm starting a sport at 26. I can't, make myself a amateur wrestling genius right off the bat, but I'm pretty goddamn strong, and I'm pretty well conditioned. So I was like, actually, I'll keep building on this. I'll seek the heavier weight classes. And again, if you think about it, if your average person, let's say the average person walking around who's like, in like sort of normal build is probably, let's say 180, 190 pounds, whatever. And then if they then train amateur wrestling like freestyle or Greco, they'll probably tighten up a bit and lose about 10 pounds. So most of the population, if they were to become athletes, would float around the 170-pound mark. So I was like, well, if I operate around the sort of 200-pound mark, I'm going outside the bulk of the population. So with the heavier weight classes, there would be less people to compete with as well. So less technique required, less people to compete, smaller sample size with it being, the UK. I was like, actually, there's only going to be a handful of really talented people that I'll need to beat. And I just drove up and down the country finding them and just kept at them every week. Every week, I just found anyone that could beat me until there was no one in the UK that could beat me. And no one did for 2 years.
Pretty incredible, man. That's a pretty incredible backstory. Your come up here on the pro wrestling side has been pretty incredible. It's WWE NXT on Sportsnet. It's TNA Slammiversary in Montreal on July 20th. Joe, thanks for taking the time out, man. Keep up all the great work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. A lot of fun there.